So I usually assume that getting to Gatwick is going to be super straightforward, that it's the simplest route from central London compared to all the other airports. But actually, I find that there's a couple things to keep in mind on this journey. And so I just wanted to make a video to walk you through all the different things about Gatwick to make that journey much easier for you. So the first thing to note is that getting to Gatwick requires taking a train. And so unlike the tube, which runs every 3 minutes, another one comes, a train, usually the time between them is around anywhere between 5 to even 14 minutes. And so that's something from a time perspective to keep in mind. So you can catch a train from London Bridge, Victoria, Farringdon, Blackfriars, King's Cross. The ticket costs £9.50 one way, but you should plus or minus £2 for the tube ride or however you're going to get to that station as well. So another thing that can be a little tricky is that Gatwick is just one stop along a commuter route. So the destination for the train isn't going to be Gatwick Airport. It's going to say something like Brighton or Horsham or a different route. So I use the app Citymapper to find the next fastest train to Gatwick. As you can see, it shows also the platform that the train will run from. Some trains take a longer route to Gatwick with more stops, and other routes are a little bit shorter, so you can take a look at all the different options available through the app. And if you're a planner and you want to see what trains are going to be running in the future, you can also do that through the app like this. So let me walk you through how I catch my train. I'm starting from London Bridge train station. We're at the platform now, and I'm going to hop on to the Thameslink service. You can also catch a train operated by Southern. So in this situation, a train was here that was going to Three Bridges, but instead I skipped that and waited for the Brighton one that was 2 minutes later because that one took 29 minutes versus, something like 46. But I just really want to point out that I was super lucky in this situation that the next train came 2 minutes later. This is kind of atypical, so I wouldn't count on this. So definitely when you're looking and planning your journey, just factor in whatever scenario might happen. And I say this with experience because in the past I was counting on the faster train, but then it was a slower train and I was frantically running through the airport to get through security. Okay, so we made it to Gatwick train station. Just one thing to remember, it is a commuter train, so that means that it will say, here we're arriving at Gatwick Airport, something like that, and it will pause there for maybe a good, 5-ish minutes, but then it will move on to another stop. So don't think that, the train's gonna let me know when we get to Gatwick and it's just gonna be the final destination, because it's not. And there have been times when I've either fallen asleep or I was distracted, and so I just missed the stop altogether. That is just very silly of me, I know, but just something to keep in mind when you are getting to Gatwick. So just make sure to count the stops, listen for the announcer, and you should be fine. I'd say it takes about 5 minutes to get from the platform to the main ticket hall area. Just something to keep in mind for timings again. One thing that I really appreciate about Gatwick Airport is that you can just tap out using your contactless payment card. So you don't need to buy a physical train ticket the way you might need to for the Stansted Express. Otherwise you get a fine. This one, you can just use your normal tapping out Oyster card or your bank card and you can get to the airport. So from the train station, it takes you to the South Terminal. If you want to go to the North Terminal, you have to turn right here, go down this hallway. There is another shuttle that takes around 2 minutes to get to the next terminal, but it comes every 5 minutes. So sometimes there can be a little bit of a delay when there's a queue of a lot of people. So basically you have to come here, just swerve right, and it'll take you another, let's just say 10 minutes to get to departures. As you can see, I am super conscious of timings for this video because I was someone who completely lost track of time and didn't factor in all these smaller pieces, and it meant that I was almost late on my EasyJet flight going from the North Terminal, and I almost freaked out. But you can avoid that by watching this video. And this is what I mean. I think sometimes I assume that getting to Gatwick is going to be super simple, but then I forget that there are a couple things that might happen along the way, like the train might be delayed, or there is some extra commuting time when you get to the airport. And so just make sure that you keep those things in mind when you're factoring timing. So this was a commute for a work trip, so I actually got Fast Track, which was a really nice luxury. It just meant that I had a dedicated security lane. I think it costs around £6 pre-booking. If you do it on the day, it's £7. It just means that you can go through a little bit faster, but to be honest, Gatwick is pretty fast. When you get past security, you then have to go past duty free to get to the main departure gates. And now you're just in this lovely little area waiting for your gate to be shown, which usually doesn't happen until 40 to 45 minutes before your departure time. And so, with this knowledge of how long everything roughly takes, you can hypothetically, which I have done in the past, get there an hour before your flight takes off. Of course, I don't know if you want to be cutting it as close as I do. It depends what kind of traveler you are. But I hope this walkthrough gives you a good sense on how long it will take you to go door to door, and also what to expect when you're going through the airport.
Laptops must be switched off. Don't take your handbag.
Now, I just wanted to take a moment to talk through getting back to London from a European airport. So oftentimes you go through security, you get to the duty-free area, and it just seems super easy breezy. You have loads of time to wait and kill. But then, when your gate is called, you realize that you actually have to go through border control. So definitely make sure you check and you factor this in from a time perspective, or sometimes it might mean that you are super late to your gate. I'm going to be doing the reverse now, walking us through from arrivals all the way back to central London. I'd say it's a relatively seamless experience getting through Gatwick Airport on arrival. Sometimes, though, the automated passport gates are not working, and so that can add a delay from a time perspective, but usually it's pretty easy getting through. And so, as you can see, we're now back in the main arrivals area, and so to get to Gatwick train station, you just have to basically follow the route and then swerve left, and you'll see the signs for the train station. If you landed in the North Terminal, this is a little bit easier for you. You just have to turn left and you're right at Gatwick train station. And just a reminder that getting to central London, you can use your contactless payment card. So this means you can use your Oyster card, your bank card, and you can easily just bypass the line and go straight to the ticket gates. And so figuring out which train to take to get back to central London is actually much easier on the way back, because here they have a better user experience that shows next fastest train to King's Cross, to Victoria, and so you're able to just quickly check and see which platform you should go onto. And so we found our platform. We are going back down to the train level here. And it's pretty similar to when you came to the airport, where the trains run every like 15-ish minutes. So unlike somewhere like Heathrow, where the Elizabeth line is the first stop going back into London, where there's no one really in the carriage, so it's really easy for your luggage, Gatwick is a commuter train again, so basically there might be a lot of people on board, but what I appreciate about the trains is that there is overhead storage as well as a place on the side where you can put your suitcases and luggage, and it's quite spacious, so even in front of your seat you could actually put some things there. When I'm booking a flight out of Gatwick, I am always mindful of the timings, so making sure it doesn't coincide with rush hour traffic. And I also double check to make sure that there are no train strikes that day, just because there are times when the train actually is not running, and so getting from Gatwick to central London can be quite pricey at around like £100 for a taxi. I hope this walkthrough was helpful, just so that you can better visualize the journey from central London to Gatwick and vice versa, and so you feel also a little bit more comfortable when going by train. I know the UK can be a little bit confusing with the different public transport options, but I just hope that this gives you the confidence to navigate it as you go. Thank you so much for watching. I wish a safe onward journey and hope to catch you on my channel again soon.